Trafalgar?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah,
We're going to have to bleep some of these.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Oh, who cares?
G'day all, and how are you going today? Welcome back to the Nothing But Footy podcast. Boys, how are we?
Yeah, good. On a lovely Wednesday night.
A cold Wednesday night, I might add. It was freezing today.
Yeah, today was a weird one because it was supposed to rain.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 45% chance of rain.
It rained.
It was supposed to rain.
It rained.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the sun was out as well. So this morning it didn't rain.
You mean this morning?
This morning
Definitely
it
rained
didn't
during the
rain,
day.
and then the sun came out. And then I was like, oh.
Just
Then it
Melbourne.
rained. And then when I left work, the sun was out again. But then when I was driving home, the sun wasn't out anymore.
Classic Victoria.
And now it's fucking freezing, so it's awesome.
Just Melbourne weather for you.
Yeah.
Well, to round 13, the preview, with a bit of a long weekend on top of it there, while Will organises his microphone
Our
Well,
stands aren't.
in mint
our
condition.
mics are top quality.
Stands up.
Stands aren't.
Budget wasn't.
Yeah, budget didn't have enough for a new stand.
To start the round off, Hawks versus the Dogs, and a few list changes. No Sicily, no Nick Watson. What are your guys' thoughts on that one to start off with?
Was Sicily's an injury?
Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, some quite big winks on that one, I reckon.
I'm actually asking.
Oh, I think it was a bit of a cover. I'm a bit sore. Okay, we're just gonna rest you.
Yeah.
Get yourself back together.
Get right.
Yeah.
But they put down you're not playing for 2 to 3 weeks, so it's a bit.
On the injury list.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, he's out for 2 weeks.
maybe it's a good thing.
yeah. I would tend to agree that it's not the worst thing. And Nick Watson's been sick all week apparently. Probably got what you have, Wilbur.
Doesn't help that he lives with Tyler Sunstead, who doesn't know how to kick a football. It's probably like getting into him, you know. Like,
Just sinking in.
yeah.
But how do you guys think this game pans out?
I wouldn't be surprised if Hawthorn can come out and win, but Bulldogs are in some pretty fine form at the moment. They get Adam Treloar back in, and then a couple of names in as well. Ryan Gardner, Josh Dolan in for Baker, Joe Hannison and Duray. So shaking up their backline quite a bit there. So that leads me to think that is an Ed Richards move back to the half back line. Unfortunately, when you bring 3 defenders out, 2 of them which are major ball movers.
Seamus Mitchell and Sam Butler.
Yeah, I was about to
in
say
for
that
their
one.
first games.
After 414 days, 418 days, he's back.
Yeah, he's been unreal in the VFL. I think last game he had like 35 and a goal or something like that.
Horrific injury he had.
Yeah, terrible. Same with Seamus Mitchell. I'm pretty sure he's been very good. So Cam McKenzie is an emergency. So not rating him at the moment is Sammy Mitchell. I think he likes people with close names to him. Sam Butler
yeah.
and Seamus Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
You add it together, Sam Mitchell is basically playing. But yeah, I'm interested to see how Hawthorn goes here, as you said.
We need a lift.
Pretty big outs for both teams, I would say. But Treloar comes in, obviously, which is a massive in for them. Joshy Dolan and Ryan Gardner, like you said, you know, probably null and void that. But you wonder who cops. Actually, no, it's just a shit call. Actually, I was gonna say who cops the sub vest out of. But I didn't read McGuinness until last, so I was like, wow, that's an all right bench. Yeah, McGuinness will be rocking the sub.
We actually had a fan question over the week, and it was, how do the Hawks back up their last 2 weeks? What are your guys' thoughts?
I think it's going to be off their pressure. Obviously, the last 2 weeks they've had under 40 tackles, so look for a number above 60, I would say. And we saw Collingwood beat them with the 82 tackles, and this year Bulldogs are the team who average the least amount of tackles per game. So this is why I think Hawthorn could be a slight chance. Bulldogs, if their pressure's not up there, and Hawthorn are going to come out pretty hard, I reckon. It depends on how they go in the first quarter, but I would say it's going to be through pressure and will to want to win the footy.
I actually think the Hawks backline matches up pretty well against this Bulldogs backline. So it'll be interesting to see. Bulldogs, don't get me wrong, have been in some great form, but I think in terms of matchups, Hawthorn match up perfectly against these blokes.
I think Riley West is going to be a key one for him. Who goes to him?
You need to be able to do what Jamie Elliott did.
Yes. Yeah, but then on the other hand, who's going to have someone look after him?
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's a Seamus Mitchell like, if that's a possibility on bringing him in, or, sort of what the go there is for them.
It's good to see that Sam Mitchell's obviously seen that they have a big issue with covering small forwards. Obviously, you want Carl Amon and Jarman Impey to play as that, offensive kind of player. So you need someone else to actually lock down the players, which is normally Blake Hardwick, but you've pushed Blake Hardwick forward for parts of the season, so he doesn't really have time to, go back and lock someone down. So Seamus Mitchell could be a good fit for the side.
Well, I think we might see Blake Hardwick go into the back line, being that they brought Max Ramsden in to be in the forward line. Quite an interesting choice, I think, to sort of go with that tall forward line of the Bulldogs, especially with sort of Sicily going out there swingman. I think they've kind of done it to match up better against the Dogs, and especially to go up against Tim English as well when Meek's off the ground.
To the Tigs versus the Swans at the G. Will, what are your feelings against this?
Look,
I'm saying winnable.
I don't want to say we're a good chance here, but we beat them last year at the G. And that Richmond won 2 games that year, and one of them was Swans at the G. Look, all I'm saying, it's a Saturday, it's 1:20, it's like prime time. We are like almost the favourites in this game, which is showing you how far down Sydney's gone. I like our chances. I hope we don't get complacent after last week. I hope we're still firing. We're still ready to go. I don't think we have any major injuries out. I'm not sure about them having anyone back, but Bolter is back, which is very good, considering they have 0 forwards. So, I'm sure Bolter can deal with Joel Hamling. If Ben Miller can keep, this is such a Ben Miller thing to happen. Keep Jesse Hogan to 1 goal for the week, but let Joel Hamling kick 7
4,
or something like that. It's like, I really hope that maybe Juddy Clark comes in. He was unreal, 27 touches and 2 goals on the weekend. And we haven't really seen that from him. We've normally seen him as more of a forward kind of presence. So I'd like to see him come back. But there's some pretty exciting injury updates as well that I wanted to say. Taj Houghton from his ACL, he's 3 to 6 weeks away. Josh Gibcus is 4 to 7 weeks away. So best case scenario, those blokes could be back in a month. Short is 1 week away, and then Smiley 3 weeks away, 3 to 5 weeks. So we could have all those blokes back within 4 weeks, which would be unreal.
Keon, how does this game play out for you?
Yeah, I'm surprised Richmond aren't the favourites, to be completely honest. I think, for me, that they're the team that I reckon can probably in better form. Swans getting absolutely smashed. Richmond put it up against the GWS Giants, who are a contender for most to make the 8, most definitely, maybe even a prelim. So I think, they're in some pretty good form, especially with Bolter coming back. He's a key pillar for their backline. We know they play a lot better when he plays. The one thing I will say is I think this is going to be, a very poor kicking set shot type of game.
It's going to be raining.
So for the season, Sydney's the second worst set shot team, goal accuracy team, and Richmond's the 5th worst. And for goals per inside 50, Sydney's the 3rd worst and Richmond's the 5th worst.
There you go.
So going to be a lot of disposal and inside 50s to not much score.
If we win this game and let's say we had beaten GWS, we would be on the same amount of points as St Kilda, depending on if they win this week.
Well, the Saints aren't playing this week.
But yeah. And,
But I get
and
it,
Melbourne. Like, it's
That'll be pretty
nuts to
impressive.
think about that we'd be sitting in 12th.
We did have a fan question on the Instagram, and it was, what happens if the Swans lose this week? Will, what are your thoughts?
I don't know. Like, this is... You just got to buckle up and wait for Errol Goulden to come back. He's 2 weeks away. Apart from that, Joel Amarty's not too far away as well. And just, I guess, really hope. And then Tom Papley as well is 2 to 3 weeks away. Tom Papley, Errol Goulden, and Joel Amarty, those are 3 big ins.
So go for a 3-week holiday is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Just disconnect from for the football world, come back and just watch them.
Unfortunately, it's if they lose this week, not that it already is, they're not going to make finals for me. But if they lose this week, they can fully write off that opportunity, and then they just have to try and ride out the season, play the best kind of football they can. If you're round 14 and you've only won 3 games, it's not looking good.
Yeah, I think you got big problems when you're in a grand final last year. You were 12-2 at this point last year, and now you're questionable to beat who people thought a team that was going to go 0 for 23. So I think that's a big problem with Sydney.
See, funny thing is you always see this. Richmond didn't make the finals after the
always one team.
2020. Geelong didn't make the finals after 22.
Collingwood last year
didn't make the finals after 23. And that's when Collingwood was supposed to be in their prime. I think the best comparison is probably Collingwood. So I don't think it's fully alarm bells. It might be from a coaching point of view. Whether he's not the right guy for the job or not, who knows? But once they get these injuries back, it should look a little bit better.
We'll quickly touch on the Saints. We just had one question from one of the listeners. Saints do have a bye, but will Naz move? And this comes off the back of, who was he with again? It was Naz and
Jace Burgoyne and Jason Horne-Francis.
Yeah, out having dinner.
Yeah, they went and got Yochi. And they had dinner at
Nice little date.
Horne-Francis's house. And Horne-Francis said this, on the radio on Triple M in Adelaide, because there's a photo of him on Yochi. The employee asked if he could put it up on.
It hasn't been put up yet.
From when he said that, yeah. Look, I don't know, man. If St Kilda managed to lose this bloke, they seriously have to take a good hard look at themselves. You got to offer him so much money. If he's why is he considering it?
Well, we came out and said that we know Adelaide's going to offer at least 1.4 million. So we said we're happy to throw as much as we have to at him. And
it's not even ridiculous to say he's worth that.
And Jason Horne-Francis himself even said that Naz was giving them donuts last night when they were speaking, trying to get him over. Because obviously, a few of those boys played big impacts to get Lukosius over. And he was saying, Naz isn't giving a bar of it. So as a Saints fan, I'm pretty comfortable. I don't think he's going anywhere, especially he's playing elite football. He's enjoying himself. So, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he ever gave any signs of moving over. I think he was just... Plus, Adelaide's one of those ones not too far. He goes back pretty often, considering... Maybe him and Jack Higgins clash a little, considering Jack Higgins despises Adelaide and that's his hometown. But, you guys have to keep him, genuinely. Fuck getting Tom de Koning.
Yeah.
Who cares about all that money? Offer Naz whatever he wants.
Across to South Australia, where we have Crows versus the Lions on Friday night. What do you guys think this one will go? you reckon Crows come out on top? Lions have been a bit shaky. Yeah, they got that win against Dons, but it wasn't as thrashing as everyone would expect. Crows in good form. How does this one go for you guys?
Crom.
Yeah, I think the Crows get this done by maybe 2 or 3 goals. It's going to be a tight one. Always a tight one between these 3 teams. Last 3 games between them been average margin of 4 points. So going to be tight. Being that it's in Adelaide, Adelaide get the upper hand. If it was in Brisbane, then Brisbane get the upper hand. I'm going to go with Adelaide. But yeah, it's one of those ones where it just depends on where it's played. Who gets the favouritism?
Yep. Oscar McInerney looks to be back this week against them, which is it's a good in for them.
Very good in.
You know, might have some actual.
Not that Fort was bad in my
No, I
opinion.
don't think
I
Fort was
thought he was
bad.
all right.
No, not at all. That's definitely the least of their issues for me. But he's obviously good to have in. But yeah, for me, this is the Crows. I think they're playing some unreal football. And in terms of backing them in, they're at home. I'd probably back in Brisbane at home. But even then, when I look at this game, I think to myself, who would I be more likely to tip away from home? And that's probably Adelaide. So if Adelaide was in Brisbane, I'd probably be more likely to tip them than Brisbane at the Adelaide Oval. So, yeah, they should be pretty good.
We actually had a fan question, or not question, an on or not on, which was on or not on, Crom Premiers.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous to say that. I said they'd make the 8 on, what was it, August 29th of last year, something like that. So I don't want to say that's looking all right, but looking okay. But yeah, not ridiculous to say that. Them and probably Gold Coast is the 2 not ridiculous ones.
Keon?
Yeah, I think they're a chance. Premiership, probably not this year. Prelim, definitely. They can make it to a prelim. I don't know if they're just there yet. I'd probably give them another year for maybe a couple more things to click for them, especially in that back line. I think they're a bit vulnerable at times, which I think we might see against Brisbane.
Imagine they got Nas. Holy shit.
Nah.
They'd be a super team.
Well, then if they go get Naz, like they run into the problem of what Collingwood has is what do you then do with Rory Laird?
No, he's not that good of a half backer.
No, but I mean, like then you're gonna put Rory Laird back in the back line, or you're gonna put him.
in midfield.
But then you ruin your whole game plan that did you so well this year.
But then you got Naz.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the game plan that you have that's working right now, because that means, well, then probably Rankin's going to get less time in the midfield, or you're going to have to push someone else out at the moment that's working.
Laird can be the sub. Or
You know,
dropped.
things for Adelaide's got to think about.
One more question we had is, could Brisbane's patchy footy be their downfall come the pointy end of the season?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting one, being they haven't been able to probably put a 4-quarter effort together at all this season, to be honest. They play 1 or 2 good quarters of footy and that all basically gets them over the line, and then they drop off for a little bit. And I think it's going to show this week if they only play 2 good quarters of footy against Adelaide, and Adelaide are pretty switched on, then that's it for Brisbane. The game's going to be over and done with right there, because against top teams, especially in the top 8 or teams fighting for finals, you can't play inconsistent football.
To Suns versus the Cats at the Cattery. Where do you guys feel this one plays out? I'd probably say that Suns get this one. But I don't know. At the Cattery, would you trust them? Suns coming off a loss, probably need a rebound. What would you say?
Yeah, I think Geelong will probably take this one quite comfortably. It seems to me that Gold Coast struggle in games where it's quite wet, and Melbourne's going to be raining quite a lot this weekend, I believe. So that's going to be a problem for them, like we saw last week. And I think Geelong, yeah, they're playing good football. It's going to be a good midfield matchup between Smith and Anderson versus Holmes and Rao. I don't know exactly how the Gold Coast backline is going to stack up against the Jeremy Cameron likes and the Shannon Neal types. You might be able to stop one of them, but maybe not the other one. And Patrick Dangerfield is possible to return as well from his hamstring injury. So then that puts another string in the book for Gold Coast. So traveling has been a big strong point for him over the last few years. So if they can get this one to be a good one for him, but I think it's going to be a big struggle.
Yeah. Cats will comfortably win this game. Gold Coast are just a non-factor when it's raining. And it's going to be really wet on a ground like GMHBA. I think we'll see Geelong's experience there, and they'll get this win comfortably. Not saying that Gold Coast are bad; they've been very good, but for me, this is a comfortable win for the Cats.
Against the grain of what you guys have been saying, a question from the listeners are: if the Suns win, are they top 4 favourites?
Probably not for me. There's still plenty of flaws in their game. For my type,
What flaws would they be?
like I said, wet weather footy. We know they can't play wet weather footy at all.
But if they go and win this in a wet game,
I still don't think so. I think away is still an issue for them. You can tell when they like their conditions, their best football, and their best football is sometimes what it takes the most. And you've still got teams like Geelong and Hawthorn sitting outside of that top 4 that I probably see Geelong sneak up on them or Hawthorn either way.
Yeah. To Around the Globe, where we have a story fresh out of the gates today with Tassie, the update on the kind of situation of whether or not the team's going to get up. Have you guys been across this one at all?
I've heard a little bit about it.
Basically, to summarize, and correct me if I'm wrong, the government's trying to figure out where they're going to get all the money for this. And the two oppositions are basically going at it and saying, yes, we support and yes, we don't. And one, I forget who his name is, Rockcliffe, who I think is the one who's currently in house. He's supporting it, but the opposition is saying no, basically because they're in $10 billion of debt or something since he's come in. The stadium's going to cost, proposed stadium is 23,000 seats with a roof in Hobart, which will come up to a cost of building to be $945 million. And it's looking like they're not going to get the support to get that up. So then that puts into question who's going to go ahead and stake up the money. And then that puts, if they don't get a stadium, will they get a team? So that's kind of where it's going at the moment. And if they don't get it up, looks like they won't have a team. So what do you guys kind of sit with this? Will it go ahead? Will they get the funding from somewhere else? Will the government go ahead and give it the all clear? Is it an investment? Let's start there.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an investment. What they're down $10 million? Is that what it was?
10 billion,
$10 billion,
I believe.
Yeah, no, they can make $10 billion back in a year. That's pretty easy. No, I think it's definitely an investment. It's going to bring quite a bit in for them, especially not only just through the game, but even if people travel down to watch the footy, the local businesses are going to grow, get some business, airport, taxes, stuff like that. I think it will help them. It's one of those ones where you got to look at it over, 30, 40 years, but there are definitely some big questions being asked. And yeah, I'm just surprised the AFL isn't stepping in if they really want this.
Well, we did discuss it before the podcast started briefly, but was it, if I'm wrong, if the AFL steps in, then Cricket Australia is kind of going to be sitting there reaping the benefits? Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
It's someone needs to step up, but they don't.
The whole reason that Cricket Australia and Cricket Tasmania are involved in this is because the government's paying for it.
Yeah.
Because if the government wasn't paying for it, they don't have a say at all. But because the government's paying for it, they have, if there's $900 million of Tasmania's money going into a stadium, they want to be able to play cricket on it as well. And the roof is the reason that adds probably $300 million of the cost. Genuinely, they're making the roof out of glass. So if they just got rid of that roof, you know, they could chop about half the cost off. It's kind of shit because the whole footy club depends on whether or not they get this stadium up. But it's also the AFL's fault because if the AFL is not going to fund it, then what do you expect Tasmania to do if the politicians say no, you know? They can't fund it. They've got $2 million from $10 members, and that's about it. We obviously saw Tassie's general manager break down in an interview, finding out that Jeremy Rockcliffe said no on the vote, but he's looking like he might lose his job. But
Well, it was started off saying that we were going to have $755 million to build the stadium. So that grew obviously to the 945,000 million. And then with estimated putting the finished product on is more than $1 billion. So getting it all done, all ready to go will be $1 billion. And with inflation, that's just going to keep on growing. So it's a big number. So I think someone else needs to step in realistically here, whether it's the AFL, whether it's both the AFL and Cricket Australia, whether it's, I don't know, would someone sponsor to get it up and have their name on it for a long
This is
time?
my question. Is this a possibility where we could see for the first time a club sort of turning more franchisee, NBA likes, NFL likes, where there's an actual owner, where someone might step in and go, you know what, or buy the club type of thing? Do you think there's a possibility of something like that?
I don't think
Probably
someone's going to
not,
hike up
no.
that much money. But something's
Well,
going to take a
Tasmania-
long time to get up.
yeah, I don't know. It could. It just, there's no real owners out there that are that, you know, that rich that are going to be able to drop that much on a stadium as well.
Yeah, because what, you need to buy the club and then the stadium.
Well, the club wouldn't be worth much
No, the
at the
club
moment.
the club wouldn't be worth much, but the stadium's the real. It's $1 billion you basically need.
Just chop the roof off, man. Like, the roof is genuinely like half of the cost of this stadium.
Yeah, but I think what the problem we're going to run into is if you get rid of the roof, then we're going to have some pretty crappy games.
But another reason why the government doesn't want to make the stadium is because of the roof is restricting the cricket.
See, that's the thing I don't understand. How's the roof restricting the cricket?
Like,
Are they worried that a cricket ball is going to break the glass? Like,
probably, yeah.
but I feel like the glass would be strong enough. And how often are you going to be? We could probably see it once every three
It
big bash
happens.
seasons.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, if that's the reason. I just don't
realistically-
understand why they don't want the roof. And I think the roof is needed just because of Tasmania's weather, heat. It's freezing normally down there. It's raining basically every second day down there.
Footy's a
It's-
winter sport.
I just think that if they don't put a roof on it, we're going to get down the track. They're going to play a season there and we're going to go just horrible football. And then the AFL is going to go,
They could
well, we
master it.
asked for a roof on it and we didn't get it.
Yeah. But then the AFL's not paying for it, you know? So if the AFL wants the best quality product, which is having a roof on it, you need to fork up the money, you know?
But then they're going to make it one that you can't see through, and then Cricket Australia is going to go, we want to see through. I reckon we just put a net on the top over the glass, make it a real glass one, like proper, like thin panels, and then just when cricket's played, put a net over it.
Yeah. Well, regardless though, like the AFL can't be having all these requirements and everything like that when they're not even paying for the fucking thing, you know? They're just expecting the Tasmanian government to roll over and say, yeah, here's $900 million for a plan that doesn't suit anything but your AFL that you're not even paying for. So I actually don't mind it, but I feel bad for Tasmania because they've kind of been fucked. Like the football club's kind of been fucked because they've been put in a shit position where they've got no choice.
Yeah, it's disappointing. But we'll go ahead and move on to off to the country's capital in Canberra with GWS versus the Power. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know where this one sits with me. What do you guys reckon? Because you'd say GWS come out and get the win personally for me. But then, I don't know, does Power show up this week?
I think there's a chance where Port could have sort of tried to hit a reset button over their week off, try and get some new things going for them, just forget about football for a week type of thing. However, I think GWS, they're going to realize, we got a bit of a scare against Richmond. We got lucky to be able to come back and win that one in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I think this one's a comfortable win for GWS. In terms of Port Adelaide, can they win it? Yeah, they have the ability to be a top 4 team at times, but the problem is we just don't get to see that on a consistent basis.
Yeah, this is so weird because this is the team of the inconsistent. I think just the more inconsistent is probably Port. The worst team is Port, but whether or not GWS show out and show why they're a pretty good side up in Canberra as well. I will say this. I don't think Adam Kingsley was happy at all with that win at all.
No.
I think it was probably more so bring your mouth guards to training than Hawthorn, At least Hawthorn lost to a, good quality side. Whereas GWS almost got done by 40 points at their home against 16th on the ladder. So for me, this is probably a bit of a wake-up call for GWS. Need to win this game, and they'll probably get the job done for me.
Yeah. On that, Ken Hinkley this week was discussed about in the media a bit, saying that if he doesn't make finals, he'll wrap it up early, or if it's looking like there's no possibility of him making finals, that he'll hand it in early. Me and Keon did discuss this a while ago. Will, what are your thoughts, first of all, on Ken? Is Ken a possibility to wrap it up early?
No, I don't think so.
You think he's going to stick it through?
Yeah, I reckon he will.
Do you think it's better for the club if he wraps it up early?
Yeah, definitely. But
if you were to pick a time, when would it be? Would it be when he can't make finals? Would it be if you're out there making a few decisions and trying to put the team forward? What are you kind of saying to Ken right now?
Oh, well, I don't know, because it depends where Port Adelaide want to be as a football club, Because if you cut it off too early, then they're going to be terrible, because the boys are very invested in Ken Hinkley. They love him to bits. But it'll give, Josh Carr time to reset the team. But the second that you get rid of Ken Hinkley, for me, is when Port will be a disgusting team to watch for the rest of the year. So say you get rid of him in the next 4 rounds, the rest of that year with just Josh Carr, for me, would be terrible Port footy, in my opinion.
Keon, what's your 2 cents on this?
I think the decision will be made by the start of July. So they play GWS this week, then they've got Melbourne at home, Sydney at home, Carlton at home. Now, if they go and lose all of those, or even just 3 of those games, especially being at home, then I think that's where we could see it. But then they also have the possibility, if they win this weekend and those other 3 games at home, where they have the chance to turn their season around, like Port, occasionally do, where they start the season bad and rush home for finals. I can see the chance where, he doesn't go. But the major ones they've got to win is against Sydney. Well, all 3. If they can hold on to at least 2 of those, then Ken stays. But if they lose all of those, then I think we'll see him out of the seat by the start of July.
Yeah. With the Wooden Spoon Cup, in my opinion, with West Coast versus North, what? How does this one play out? Because there's no real winners in this, in my opinion. There's going to be someone who gets 1 step away, personally, from the first draft pick this year.
Well, North don't have a draft
Oh,
pick
yeah, because it's given
anyways.
to you, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're North, you want to win this game.
Yeah.
North are away from draft picks now. North is supposed to be winning games. So if North lose this, it's a lot more embarrassing for North. And to be honest, I don't think they'll win by that much if they do. In Bunbury, we saw last year that West Coast should have dealt with them. Obviously, they lost. But they would probably control the game. West Coast have strung together 2 or 3 good weeks. They're at home again this week. This is one of those ones that's North's home, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is their 2-week patch in WA.
Yeah. So I've probably got the Eagles here.
Keon, what would you have this
just
game?
because.
Sorry.
I don't care who wins here really because we have their draft pick. So if West Coast win, then we'll drop. We won't drop yet, but we might drop beneath them, and then we'll get pick 1. And if North drop, then I don't really care about that either. So
Keon?
I think I want to say North Melbourne, but West Coast matched up really well to them last year. Obviously, they got the win over them up in WA in the last dying stages of that game. But if this is not a 4-hour flight for North, you'd say they've got this one. But when West Coast only have to catch a bus down to the road to the game, then you go, maybe that's a good chance. So I think this is an even playing field, in my opinion, in terms of what goes on. I think it's going to be 50-50, and you go from 50-50, then I think you lean more to North Melbourne. I think they play better football. But if West Coast can play the football that they've been playing at Optus Stadium and bring it down to Bunbury, then I don't see why they can't win.
There has been a bit of talk in the media against Harley and how he's playing and how he's improving. What would you guys say he goes for in this game? Are we going to see a big game from Harley Reid? It's going to be average. Like, where does he go? There's been a lot of talk in terms of how he's being coached, that he had a lot of input coming in and they've kind of restricted that down to only a few people kind of giving their 2 cents. Number one, do you guys think that's a better way of going about it?
he'll be at Richmond next year.
Well, I've heard there's a strong Essendon too. It'll be one of those two, you'd say.
Essendon will give it a crack. If West Coast trade him, it'll be one of those two because they'll get the best deals.
Yeah.
Richmond are looking like they'll give up pick 2 and pick 3 for Harley Reid.
Is that a win for you in your eyes?
Fuck yeah. This draft doesn't look strong at all.
Uh-huh.
It's been, last year was a super draft. This year's looking, what they're saying is nowhere near a very good draft. So I'd easily give up 2 first rounders for Harley Reid.
Would you, Keon?
Star power.
Yeah. I think, in terms of the weakness of this draft, I would.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a pick 2 and a 3, maybe a pick 2 and a later outside the top 10. But I'd be looking to get someone rather than going with my picks to the draft, like Will said.
But yeah, how do you feel Harley plays out in this game?
I think the footy he's been playing at the moment hasn't been to an elite standard, but it's been consistent good footy. I think he's had about 18 touches odd the last couple of weeks, been hitting the scoreboard as well. So consistency wise, he's been pretty good. No, nothing that you go, oh wow. He's had a few glimpses, but yeah, he's been consistently good.
With that one, we'll go ahead and move to the big freeze. Oh no, we'll go to Dons versus the Blues. Where the first thing we'll start off with a question: is the loser of this out of the runnings for finals?
Yeah, I tend to say so. I think you kind of call it wraps on both teams. If Carlton lose, this takes them to 4 and 8, and it's a long way back for them. And Essendon, it takes them to 6 and 6 if they lose. But do we really think Essendon can make finals from here onwards anyway? Probably not. It just makes it quite difficult for them be having to win the next, 7 of their last, 12 games. So, but yeah, it's going to be definitely very difficult for either team.
Will?
Yeah. Neither of these teams make finals for me. It's who's Carlton Carlton getting over here, Bulldogs aren't even in the 8 at the moment. You'd see them. I'd see St Kilda in the 8 before I see Carlton, in my opinion. And Essendon are they've snuck their way to 6 wins. Obviously, they've only got a percentage of 84. They will fall down at a very quick rate.
But how does this game play out in terms of
Carlton should win this game.
Yeah.
Realistically, there should be nothing else. Prime time, MCG, Carlton will pull, I'm pretty sure it's their home game, so they'll pull 80,000-ish there, maybe a little bit less. Carlton should win this game, for sure.
There has been a bit of talk about Sam Walsh maybe moving clubs. Do you reckon that's the right move for him to start off with? And if so, who's the best to kind of put their reach out and get him first?
Wouldn't blame him. I don't know. Maybe Geelong. I could see Geelong ending up with him. That's about it. He's not a player that I'd really pay a lot of money for.
Would you want Richmond to have a stab at it?
Nah. Right now, we're looking like we're going to go for Zach Butters.
Yeah.
Just because pay him an absolute bag. Matt Rowell, pay him an absolute bag. He probably won't move, though. But I think if we're going for someone, we're going for some genuine superstars.
Yeah. Keon?
On the game, I think it's going to be a very good game. Going to go down to the wire. Darcy Parish comes back in most likely for his first game of the season, coming back from his ACL. Had a pretty good game on the weekend in the VFL. Reckon we might see Elijah Sardis back. I think he had 38 in the VFL.
We'll probably see the mid-season draftee, Archie May.
Yeah. So I think Essendon can get this one done because I just think at the moment they're probably their game style, the way that they play their football is probably better than Carlton's. I think they have some questionable ball movement problems which I've highlighted throughout the year. And in terms of Sam Walsh, I think any club would be silly to not throw some money at him. I think he can be an elite player if you play him in the right position, the right role, which Carlton's probably not doing at the moment. He's had a few injury scares over the last couple years throughout his career. So if you can get those fixed up, I don't see why a club wouldn't be going for him.
Yep. And that takes us to the last game. The Big Freeze on the Monday. Shaken up a bit with the long weekend. I would say Pies have this 100%. But I think D's will be there fighting. It's not going to be a blowout. But I just think there's going to be convincing Collingwood's got the upper hand on this one. Thoughts?
Yes, I disagree. I think it's going to be a blowout. The last couple of years, Melbourne haven't seemed to show up to this Big Freeze game. I think last year they lost by 40-odd points, 45 points. Game was basically over at halftime. They were slowly on a run and then they lost to St Kilda, which probably kills a lot of their momentum. And I think this Collingwood team, the way they play, the way they move the ball is elite. And I don't know, Billy Frampton's going to stop Malcolm, so I don't know. What other chances Melbourne have? Yeah, you got to, if they want to win, you got to look for a Cozzy 30-5 type of game. And a Gawn to bowl out and have 30 as well.
Yeah. This game, I don't know. I think Melbourne could be a good chance against the Pies. I think they've got a pretty good record against them when they're, fit and healthy. Obviously, the Pies are in very good condition. Melbourne don't match up too well against them, to be honest. Considering if Cozzy Pickett matches up on Quaynor, I'd probably see Cozzy Pickett nullified from that. And Melbourne don't really have any other forwards that Collingwood really have to worry about. And then in the back line, they probably do have some worries. They'll probably hold up pretty well against Collingwood, considering they don't have any tall forwards to worry about. Myercheck will get clamped up by either Lever or May, whoever runs back quicker.
I think May will go with Elliott, I reckon. That would be my assumption. And then I think you'll see Lever probably go to a Membry to roll off a bit.
Yep. And then probably Bowie and Salem running off the back of that. Yeah, to me, this game seems a little interesting. I don't think it'll be a big win from Collingwood, but I also don't see Melbourne winning. I think if Gawn is able to have a big forward presence, I don't really mind what he does in the ruck because he'll always do his thing against Darcy Cameron. But if he can get forward and if he can take some marks, I don't think they'll be able to stop him in the forward line.
And just quickly, we might go through the sliders. We have Peter Dacos. He'll be on there. We have Mark Taylor. We have Matt Nabble, who's an iconic storyteller. We have Liz Watson, a netball dynamo. And I honestly couldn't tell you who the rest are. But yeah. Is there anyone you would like to see in there that hasn't been in there so far?
Oh, there's been a lot of. I mean, there's been over 100 people who've done it. So, we saw the coaches one year. I wouldn't mind maybe one where you get all the captains to do it, maybe, or something along that theme. I think the year when they did all the coaches, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you can get one that's like a theme, I think that'd be quite cool.
Will, anyone you'd be wanting to see there? No one in particular. That's fine. With that, we'll go ahead and jump right into Sharky's airtime. Will, did you miss it last week? That's the real question.
I did.
You did?
Well, I wasn't here, so.
No, but like, did you?
No, I haven't tuned in yet, no.
No, like, were you like, during the week, were you like, oh, like I want some.
Oh,
want
yeah.
Want a bit of a
yeah,
brain
for sure.
teaser?
I was trying not to die, so.
Oh, okay.
No, that was one of his worries.
No, not extremely. I wasn't sitting there on Wednesday night thinking about Sharky's airtime. I was mainly thinking about breathing. So, glad to be back, though. I'm glad it's back.
Glad you're back, Will. First one we have Chol, Higgins, and Ben Long.
Daniel Rioli?
No.
Interesting.
This is one I had to chop and change a few because the first ones I was like, they'll get this within seconds. So, a bit different.
Oh, Dan Butler.
No.
What?
It's the way you go, oh, I know. And then Chuck's like, no.
Well, both
You
of
don't
those
know.
are technically correct. They're just not the right correct.
Well, did Dan Butler play with Ben Long?
What was that? When did Ben Long leave?
He might have played a couple of seasons with him, maybe.
Yeah.
What do we got? Mabia Chol, Gold Coast, Richmond, Hawthorn, Jack Higgins, Richmond,
Tom Lee.
St Kilda, Ben Long, Gold Coast, St Kilda.
Oh, Brandon Ellis?
No.
What? Oh, well, Brandon Ellis. no, he did. That had to be Brandon Ellis.
The Saints.
Let me know when you want some hints. When you want a bit of a push in the right direction.
Joel and Higgins played at Richmond together. Ben Long used to play at the Saints, but I doubt that would link with Higgins.
I think
I'm
Will's
thinking
going off on the wrong path here.
It's a Richmond player to a Gold Coast player.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a three-way. I think they've played for 3 clubs.
Brandon Ellis works there. Richmond, Gold Coast with Ben Long, yeah. 3 clubber.
Mm,
No,
No.
a non-3 clubber.
Huh.
Richmond. Realistically, it has to be Richmond, right?
oh, no, wrong brother.
Feel like you guys are getting caught up in the details a little much.
Dan Butler. No.
Oh,
Has the penny dropped for Keon?
no. I
No.
was thinking Dion Prestia.
Yeah, he left Gold Coast ages ago. I was thinking Tom Lynch as well with him
Yeah.
because Lynchy stayed the longest.
He's a defender.
Yeah, pretender.
Played for 2 clubs.
Richmond.
No.
What? Saints and Hawthorn. Saints and Gold Coast.
Oh, Keon.
Yeah.
Josh Battle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The next one we have is don't like that one.
Ugh. You know how many options there were there?
Yeah.
There were like 30 Richmond players you could have picked from.
That's right. Next one we have is Toby Pink, Nick Blakey, and Carl Amon.
We've got some interesting
is
looking
it
blokes
Alir
than
Alir?
Carl Amon.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
Is it what?
Alir.
Oh,
That was quick.
I wasn't even thinking about the player. I was looking at the photos of the players. I was like, oh, we've got some interesting looking blokes. And
Oh
then
my
Carl
God,
Amon.
we do too. Carl Amon kind of regulates it all.
That's what I mean. I hadn't
Jeez.
even thought about the players
Toby
yet.
Pinky's a good looking fella. Give him that much.
The last one we have is Tyson Stengel, Tim Taranto, and Harry Himmelberg.
Jeez, Tim Taranto really looks you in the eyes.
I just think about that goal that he kicked where he was there.
Why
like-
doesn't he shave like the little bit between his lip and his chin?
I think that's a shadow Sharky.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. It does look like a little bit of hair though, doesn't
Still
it?
didn't play it when Torino did. Played at Adelaide. Did he start at Adelaide? No, he started at Richmond. And Weeder listed in the went to
Keon.
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Jeremy Cameron.
Guys were quick on the second
Ah, that was a
two.
good one.
Way to go. Well, that's another week done. To wrap up the episode, we'll do in the tipping.
Do
So-
in the tipping.
In the tipping.
We'll do the
I
tipping.
love in the tipping.
Shut up. First one we have Hawks Dogs. I've got the Hawks.
Hawks by 10 points.
I'll go the Dogs.
The next one we have is someone else get it up. I've got a multitask.
Crows, Lions.
On the Friday night in Adelaide.
I'll take the Crows.
I've got the Crows as well.
Yeah, I'll take Crows too.
Then you got Richmond versus the Swans at the G.
Saturday, 120, wet weather footy. Give me the Tigers.
I'll take the Tigers.
I got Tigers too.
Oh, love you guys.
Then you got Geelong versus Gold Coast at GMHBA Stadium.
Be silly to go for the Suns.
Yeah, I'll take the Cats.
Yeah, I took Cats too. Next one.
I think Sharky's been persuaded through
Yeah,
this
didn't you
episode.
bring up-
You said when we spoke
said that
about it,
Gold
I'll
Coast-
be definitely taking Gold Coast for sure.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm sticking to my guns.
Gold
Suns.
Coast.
Suns.
There you
Why
go.
not?
All right. Next up is the Saturday night Port versus JWS at Manuka. Give me the Giants.
Yeah, I got Giants too. Hate Port.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants. Oh, yeah, I'll take the Giants.
And then next up is on the Sunday afternoon, North versus the West Coast Eagles at Hands Oval in Bunbury. Give me the Eagles.
I'll go North Melbourne. I was going to go the Eagles, but if Will goes the Eagles, I'll go North.
I'm going North too. And to wrap it up, we have
No,
not to wrap it up. We have
not to
You
wrap
done
it
it
up.
Carlton.
twice now.
Yeah, because it's like Monday. You know what I mean? The Monday one throws me off.
Anyways,
We have Dons versus the Blues.
Sunday night, 7:20. That'll be all right.
Mm.
This is awesome.
What's
we've
awesome?
Got, we've got footy on Monday and Sunday night while we're away.
Yeah. I'll take the Dons.
I've got the Blues.
I've got Blues too. And to wrap it up properly, we have D's versus the Pies.
I'll take the Pies.
How many differences do Keon and I have?
Like 3.
Like one, I reckon.
1, 2, 3.
What are the differences? Sorry,
Hawks.
We don't need. You
Dog-
don't need to worry
Hawks,
about
Dogs.
tips right now.
you're beating me.
By 3.
Hawks,
If you-
Dogs.
No, it's really not. If you get one,
But I
Ooh.
thought we only had one difference this week.
but if you get one more than me every week, you'll beat me by 9.
Yeah, I know, but I thought we didn't have any differences. It's Hawks. What else?
Hawks, Dogs. North Eagles, Dons,
The
Blues.
North Eagles. What the fuck?
North and Eagles.
Yeah. Okay. I've got Collingwood.
Okay, I've got D's. Bit of a smoky.
Did we read that out? Didn't we?
Yeah, we read that out.
sweet.
Just something I've noticed, right, on the AFL website. How come for some of the teams they've got their nickname, but for some they don't?
Nickname as in
So-
Wurundjeri or?
No. So you've got like the Brisbane Lions, but then it's just Hawthorn, not Hawthorn Hawks.
It's a good question.
Or you
you're
got-
asking.
Richmond and,
And
Sydney
also-
Swans.
GWS are in all caps.
Probably because if it's all like lowercase, that doesn't look as nice.
Yeah, but it doesn't say Greater Western Sydney.
The GWS in all caps makes sense. The Giants in all caps
Yeah,
doesn't.
it goes GWS Giants.
It
but
just
then it's
must be
also
the way that
Gold
they're-
Coast Suns, but Suns are in all caps.
Yeah, it just must be the way they're done. But yeah, I don't know why like Geelong Cats, but you've got Port Adelaide, or
Maybe the OG teams.
Carlton is just Carlton and Essendon is just Essendon.
Yeah. Like, couldn't they add Saints to the end of St Kilda? You know?
St Kilda Saints.
That's their name.
That's what they're called.
Like Richmond Tigers, Port Adelaide Power,
Hawthorn Hawks,
Carlton Blues, man.
Carlton
Collingwood
Blues-
Pies,
Yeah, see some of them, I don't know.
Adelaide Crows,
Like they've
Melbourne.
got the West Coast Eagles because
Melbourne
everyone knows them as the
Demons.
West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, that one just kind of rolls off the tongue though, you know what I mean?
I've
Richmond
worked
Tigers.
it out.
Melbourne Demons.
I've worked it out, boys.
Yeah.
I thought I worked it out, but possibly I haven't worked it out.
Oh, it
but
hasn't worked it out.
But no, see, I thought I had it, but never mind. I completely don't have it. I thought it went off of like what the logo says,
Ah.
but then I realized that Hawthorn says Hawks in it. There's actually doesn't say Hawthorn.
And Giants says Giants, not
Yeah.
GWS. And
Anyway,
the Suns just
Thought I
says
worked the
Suns.
algorithm out, but it wasn't it.
With that, we'll wrap up the episode there.
We'll move on into wrapping the episode
No,
up.
come on. I've been so much better. I've been so much better. I need some credit here if we're going to rip in.
I'll let Kayon talk about
Anyway, we'll move into wrapping up this episode.
No, I've been so much better. I'm actually outraged.
that. We'll do a move on into count and we'll see what it was today.
I'm actually
I
outraged.
reckon it was every segment.
Oh, it's all right. Anyway, before we move into
Before we roll
ending,
into
No,
rolling
I was
ending
actually
of
better. I
this.
actually can't. No. I've been doing so
we'll
much
ask the
better.
fans. How's Sharky been
Well,
doing
I also
better?
put them, give me some interesting stuff to say. And here's a tip, not one person responded.
I thought we had a bunch of fan questions that you kept
Yeah.
reading out.
No, the one where I was like, Sharky's run out of stuff to say in between the things.
I think that's more the consensus of people probably don't like you, so they didn't want to help you out.
Ah, they all work for HR.
Anyway, before we roll into closing out to ending the episode,
Shut up.
I just wanted to speak top 9 teams versus the top 9 teams in their records. Geelong has the best one, along with Collingwood at 5-2.
What? Top 19.
So when the top
Like
9
right
teams
now?
play, yeah. So when
Right.
the top 9 teams, which the top 9 are probably the contenders. There's maybe 1 or 2 other ones, but that's really it.
Yep.
So when they play each other, Geelong and Collingwood are at the top. They're 5-2. Brisbane's 4-1. Freo 4-2.
What?
Gold Coast 3-2. GWS 2-4. And then this is where it gets interesting. Western Bulldogs 1-5. Adelaide 1-4. Hawthorn 1-4. So Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn, they play each other. So one of them's going to improve. And
I missed
Adelaide, who play the Brisbane Lions as well. I know
I'd
we
like
all
to say
tipped.
win.
We all tipped Adelaide. However, they're 1-4 with a percentage of 92 against the top 9 teams. So
Wow. That's this year, right?
yes.
Yes. Mm.
Whereas Brisbane's 4-1.
Well, before I move on into giving my
Shut
opinion
up.
about this,
I've actually been better. I'm not happy with this.
yeah, that is very interesting, to be honest, considering I feel like Adelaide haven't had the easiest run. So I would have thought they would have had more there. And I thought that Brisbane, to be honest, would have had a worse record. So that is quite interesting to say the least. But yeah, it'll be good to see how that one plays out. Also, Freo.
Yeah.
Freo have been terrible. Wow. Apart from this last 5 weeks.
Well, their last 3 weeks have been against top 4 teams.
Yeah.
So top 8 teams. So,
Definitely a different side at home.
all right, Shark, you can roll on into the ending this episode up.
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode. Very appreciative. Go ahead and check us out on the socials. Got the TikToks up, got the stories up, got the posts up. It's the place to be if you want to stay involved with the podcast.
If you want to roll on into
If you want to
watching
roll on into and start an
shorter videos
episode,
of us,
Mm.
you know, maybe you're not a big podcast guy, and that's all right. You can watch the small chunks. You can roll into those ones.
you can get on a doom scroll.
Yes, plenty of content up there.
But Wilbur, we'll say goodbye to you.
Thanks, mate.
Kaon, goodbye to you.
I'll leave us with one thing before we end.
Yeah.
As we normally say on this podcast, stay tuned because there's something big coming.
Oh, something big coming.
Will doesn't even know what.
Yeah, I was.
Will doesn't even know what the
I don't
something
even
big
know what it
is.
is. So
Uh,
that's how you know it's exclusive.
Sharky knows, but Will doesn't know. So Will's
what
got a
the
big
fuck, man?
surprise coming for him.
All right. Well, I'll be finding out.
See you all.
Thanks for listening.
It looks like that's the end of the Nothing But Footy podcast. Thanks very much for tuning in. Go ahead and check us out on all of our socials. And we'll see you on the next one.